What's up, humans, and welcome back to the Human Music Podcast. This is episode 51, Illexxandra's Virtual Reality Festival Life. Illexxandra is a producer, DJ, and coach based out of New York City. She's been released on ill.Gates' Producer Dojo label and topped the beatport charts with her EP, Out the Shadows. She regularly DJs in virtual reality as well as in real life when it's not a pandemic. Today you'll learn about her DJ preferences, what it's like DJing and attending festivals in VR, whether opera singing would work on bass music, creating and following inspiration and happy accidents, and her songwriting and releasing process. Please support our sponsors. All their links are below. First off, Dojo TV, where we recorded this episode live. It's free producer live stream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis. Come on in, get in the chat, and join in the fun. The Dojo Max membership. You get monthly private lessons, unlimited track feedback, and the weekly download archive. It is the best value the Producer Dojo has to offer. Next, guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. He's high-key the best engineer we know, and with guest practices, your first class is free. Come see what the hype's about, see why we highly endorse Seth Drake. And finally, Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get unlimited uploads for under $10. And that includes things like Shazam and YouTube Content ID that some of their competitors make you pay extra for. All right, humans, make sure you support those links down below. All things we use and highly recommend. And here is the episode. Without any further ado, enjoy Illexxandra.
Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it. All right, what's up, Dojo TV? We're back again and again and again. You're going to get us a few weeks in a row here, but really excited to be here with you, and especially excited because we've got a Dojo legend in the house, the one, the only, Illexxandra. Give it up. Drop some rave horns in the chat.
Damn, son, where'd you find her?
What was the other one? Off air, Evan was telling us a little story of a different version of that he heard.
I don't know how, but every show in Vancouver we went to, which was like 4 shows when I was living up in Seattle, one of the DJs during the night would play the exact same sample, except it didn't go, "Damn, son, where'd you find this?" It goes, "Damn, son, this MDMA is fire." And you would just lose it every time.
So since we talked about this pre-show, I have Googled it, and there's a tweet from 2012 by ill.Internet, which says, "People, all caps, people using my personal damn son, this MDMA fire drop in their own sets. What's new, doe? I made a song called Stop Copying Me in 2007 for a reason."
My
Nice.
God.
So ill.Internet claims authorship over damn son, this MDMA is fire.
I'm gonna go cop that and fucking blast it, dude. Are you
Fastest Google in the East. That's what's
Of
up.
course, he's like, "Stop copying me," and we're all like, "Oh, I gotta get that right away."
Yeah, apparently
2012.
McLovin was the original voice actor for that
No.
sound
Oh.
clip. Yeah.
That is crazy. How'd it go from Squeaky McGee to Deep Voice Johnson out here?
Man, that's a good question.
You finally hit puberty? What happened?
People are good at voice acting, you know.
That's true. That's
Dude,
true.
you know, Mark Hamill is like the voice of like everything.
I mean, shouts out to him for it too, because, you know, he's not in that many non-voice acting things. You know, you look at him, it's like, oh, but he's Luke Skywalker.
Dude, that's part of why. I mean, I assume he's like amazing at voice acting too, but that has to be part of it. Like, okay, well, nobody's ever gonna see me as anything but Luke Skywalker, so I guess I'm doing this now.
Yeah. I've always thought voice acting would be a dope gig. Like,
show up. You don't gotta get in makeup. You just hang out in the studio. Just lay down your lines, collect a big check, and go home, and nobody bothers you on the street.
Yeah, you would be perfect. We've always said you have the radio voice on this show. You would be perfect for that. Plus, you got like voice actors normally do like funny characters and stuff. You got that in the bag, dog.
All right, fuck
Yo, I gotta
music.
take that
You guys
back,
are to
by the
hear.
way. It looks
It's now
like
the Human
McLovin
Voice
thing
Acting
was a meme.
Podcast. Who's
Yeah,
that,
true.
Tesco?
I just have to come clean on the fact check here and say that it is not McLovin, and I apologize for spreading fake news. It was it was a meme that it was McLovin. Seems to be different
Worth it, though.
producer here. Yeah,
I'm glad you
That would
said
be
the wrong
amazing,
thing.
though.
It was way more fun.
there is
Let's
a video
roll
of
with the
McLovin
lie.
in the studio where it's just overdubs of "Damn son."
I fully support this.
Yes.
Now, the actual reason we're here to talk to Lexi.
Oh, hi.
What's up? Yo, so generally we like to start off by letting you tell us your superhero origin story. How'd you get
Oh,
into
gosh.
music and get here? Super freeform, however you feel like answering that question. And then we'll just riff from there until we run out of juice or time. Probably
Cool, yeah.
time.
Probably time. Well, there was this giant explosion on my home planet, and then they sent me, to not Kansas as you might expect, but they sent me to no.
I mean, good for
Father,
you.
like,
If you're gonna be in
like a
Texas or
full-on rock.
Kansas, no hate to Kansas, I've never been there.
Yeah. There's so many ways to tell this story. So it's, and like whenever I think about my influence, I'm not that I'll think of any of them necessarily right now, but whenever I think of my influences, there's always, often I'm like, oh, if it wasn't for that, like one thing, maybe I wouldn't have gone down this path. But there's actually like so many times, that I could say that. However, I started out as a singer. I guess it's a good place to start. I started out as a singer. That's what I went to school for.
Mm.
And grad school for a year until I quit because college is a scam.
Amen.
You went to
Yeah,
college
go to
like,
Producer
study-
Dojo instead, folks.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it took me way too. I mean, are there reasons to go to college? Obviously, and like I'm like nerdy about learning stuff in general. So like it's not like it was bad, but I think the system is stacked against people, and especially kids. I mean, and especially when I went before there was like more. I don't know why I'm starting with like my bitterness about college, but I went before.
Hey, go for it.
Why not?
People
I
were
went
late.
before. I'm years old, and I went before people really knew the dangers of loans and stuff, and I was very proactive about like, this seems shady, and like I really asked a lot of people, and people are like, no, this is how you invest in your future. And so by the time my second year of grad school came along for singing, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is worth it anymore. Because like I could like start counting, like because the end was near. Like I a lot of people when they're young, they not everyone, but there's certain people when they're young, they're like, oh, if I just follow the steps, I'll get there. I guess it's a good thing to talk about regarding the dojo too, because there's like no one path, and and it's not like you can just like follow a formula and get famous, and but a lot of people think that, and I was sort of one of them, not specifically about like getting known, but like I thought, oh, if I just like do the things that they tell me to do, I'll and I'm ashamed to say that too, because I think of myself as like a free thinker and stuff, but still I was like, oh, well, clearly if I just work really hard on this like predetermined concept. And then my
presented as the solution, though. That was like at the time, like our parents' generation had still received great value from that college education, and so like, that route actually was touted as like, figure out what you want to do, go to college, study that thing that you want to do, and then you're set. Great. Life.
And I'm like super interested in stuff too, so there was like incentive to buy into that, because like I want to learn stuff, you know. I specifically, I guess scammed is kind of an aggressive word. I earned my way into a nice school where I got in for music, but it's also like a rigorous academic place. But I specifically, among other reasons, specifically went there for music because I also wanted to like sneak my way into getting just any other degree, because I just wanted to like learn as much stuff as possible because I'm a weirdo, and I did. but you know, so it took me all the way until my first year of grad school, going to my second, where I was like seeing the end of that tunnel, and I was like, maybe there's a flaw in this plan. When I started like counting how many years I would be paying how much money back, and like I didn't really grow up with like money, so like I didn't have like the comfort of, oh, this will work out somehow, you know, like, so not, I mean, not that everyone does, but you know, and so like I once to like the hard reality of like, oh, the math really no matter what I was told, the math does not work out on this. And so I quit, and I kept trying to be a singer for a while. I had come up trying to be like a stage singer, but then like towards the end of college and grad school, I was focused on being an opera singer. And
Dude, that's so fucking cool.
oh yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You know, it's a good time. And so I kept at it for a while. I kept like taking lessons and like working, like doing day job stuff. That was like I worked for a assistant for a opera agent, like an opera singer's agent for a few years. And I got real bitter. It's a whole other conversation. Bitter about the business, and also I just needed a break, man. Like I had been doing that thing for so long without like enough recognition or support, and I was like so disillusioned by the people behind the scenes. So I was like, I'm taking a break. I'm not losing like my entire like future income to this. And actually, I don't know why this came to mind too, but when I was an undergrad, when I was leaving undergrad, my and like I said, I'm not like a baller money wise yet. How my voice teacher in undergrad was like, you have $1 million voice, and like little old me, I was like, what? And he's like, you have a voice that will make you $1 million. So like, you know, we're gonna keep working on this, like over the course of your lifetime. And then I went home and I was like, $1 million over my entire lifetime doesn't actually sound like that much. And that was sort of the crack. I was like, if somebody thinks I only have $1 million voice, then this is not a good situation.
That's only $50,000 for 20 years. Cool.
You know what I mean? Like that'll barely pay off my loans. So no, it's not that bad. And so that's where the magic started, actually, because I was like, I'd been so ambitious and so like, you know, like pointedly focused, that I never let myself just sort of like be random and like just like float. I mean, I never really had the luxury of it. Even in this period, I didn't really like functionally have the flexibility to, until I got laid off from working as an opera agent's assistant. I have a Metropolitan Opera card with my face on it, like backstage card, and we had he contested unemployment, and I went to like we had to have like a hearing, you know, and I showed up there, and he showed up by chance right before me, and this huge shit-eating grin on his face. And he knew he had me, and why he thought he had me is he had pages from my live journal. And we got in there, and the judge was like, this is bullshit, this proves nothing. Like he was trying to prove that I left on my own, and the judge, she was like, nah brah. And so I got him unemployment, and he was not smiling anymore. And I have the guy really, I don't like to talk like demonize anyone, but that guy really sucks. And it's a whole story. Maybe we'll get into it, but it's not. I don't think it's time for that. And so I had unemployment. It's the only time, except for right now, that I've had unemployment. And I had fallen in with friends who were record collectors, or I had fallen in with a random group of friends over my time after school, you know, post school, while I was floating. I was in New York City. I went to undergrad in Chicago. I went to grad school here in New York City, and I was like floating, meeting non-classical music friends, and like actually like getting to know myself, you know, through that. And some of them were DJs, and I was like, cool, yeah, why not? And so I spent my unemployment money, which was pretty meager at the time. It was the max at the time, but it still was, you know, not very much. And but I had cheap rent in a cool, that's a whole other story. And so those are all interesting stories, so I hate to gloss over them. But I spent my days and nights buying records, running around New York City in all of our awesome record shops, that many of which don't exist anymore, buying dollar records. and like indulging. Like I always sort of knew to stay away from collecting music, because once I broke that seal, it would just be like I knew that there was like I'm such a like I'm so ambitious and such like a completist that I like if I ever started to care about who made what record or you know the lineage of music like that, I would just never stop, and I haven't, unfortunately. And so bought records and started like playing nights. I had been like singing karaoke, and it's a whole other thing, because I ended up hosting karaoke nights until the pandemic started, like straight through, like every Sunday for 15 years.
That sounds like a blast.
It is. It is. I used to be like a little apprehensive about saying that in like, you know, cool guy environments like this, but like I don't give a shit anymore.
We're not that cool.
So it's so awesome.
I love
like
karaoke.
the power of what it does for people is so life affirming. It's so interesting, and I could write a book. So, but like
that.
one of the bars where I went to karaoke, there was a DJ after karaoke. It was Wednesday nights, and there was a DJ who started after karaoke at like 1 a.m. And that person like stopped doing it, and I was like, "Hey, can I do it?" And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And for like a bunch of weeks or for months, really, I was playing all vinyl at 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. on a Wednesday night.
Such a New York thing to say right there.
Like, it was banging, actually. It was kind of awesome.
In Seattle, if what you're doing in the bar stops at 1 a.m., the bar's last call is 1:30 anyways, which really means 1:15, which really means 1:10. So the lights are on at 1. Go home.
It was really good. It was a really cool scene. It was a really good experience too. And I mean, super long story, super extra short. It just like blossomed from there. Like it just like became like it was really exciting for me to get to explore music without the pressure of what I'd been doing, and explore music in a way that was more just about like wonder and exploration and fun. And I got really good responses as a DJ. It like turned out I had like a talent for it. I mean, I think I'm good at producing. I think I really like myself as a producer.
Me too.
I don't thank you. I don't want to say like I'm good or bad or anything. Like I don't really like those value judgments anyway, but like I like myself as a producer and I enjoy doing it. And I don't want to limit myself, but I don't think I had the like beginner's raw natural talent at producing that I did as a DJ. Like, you know, the kind of like, not to like brag, I guess. And like, it's not like I knew everything from the beginning. I had a lot to learn, but the kind of like beginners, like, I don't even want to say luck, but just like intuition and skill for something that I think we all wish we had in most things. And I'm sure all of us wish we had in producing. I feel like I was lucky enough to have that as a DJ. And so I was like sort of just like shot out the gate. I wasn't like making bank or anything, but I was like kicking butt. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, I mean
that's part one. That's the Iron Man 1 of the MCU of my origin story. So
yeah. Okay, so there are a few things to unpack in there. I think your skill as a DJ is also attributed to your instant diving into the crate digging. A lot of the power of a great DJ is the intuition for the moment and sensing what the crowd wants. Mm-hmm. And then also having the depth of knowledge of like, what is the perfect record for right now? And then having that.
Yeah, for sure. And knowing your records. I mean, there's a lot of great reasons to do digital over records. And one of them was like to get to a point where you can only bring so many records to a show, and you know the perfect record, but it's not one you have in your bag. Like that is a kind of heartbreak that I can't cope with.
Yeah. That's like when you accidentally bounce your song at 24-bit and the CDJ can't read it, and it's your brand new track you're going to close your set with, and you're like, no!
Are we over that? Do they do 24-bit now?
I hope so. Oh my God.
It seems ridiculous to not have them in this great year of our Lord 2021 already. Like, word, like...
the year of our trap lord.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I actually am very like comfortable on CDJs, but I actually never got on, like from back in the day, but I actually never did the system, the record box stuff. I just stuck with Serato the whole time because I came up with records. Then I did, I like my first gigs past beyond like in my early days, but I would play vinyl and then I would bring a burned CD, full of like a data CD to my friend's laptop who had Serato with the timecode records and put the data CD in his disk drive and then play like that, like as you would with a USB stick, but like it was all Serato crated just on a burned CD, boom, and I would like make a new one every time I went and played with my friends. But I never did that. I never did it with Rekordbox because I just stuck with Serato for like a lot of reasons, and there are a lot of things about Rekordbox that I would love to like. I would love to use it someday, but I'm like waiting for them to get past some stuff that they haven't put in it yet.
What kind of stuff? I'd love to know. Somebody who's used both a little bit.
Yeah, it's mostly about my track organization. So it's like about text search, like things that I'm sure I could do with Rekordbox, the laptop software, but not just with the CDJs.
Yeah,
and like different sorting in different ways and like more like fluid. I mean, because now we're about to get into, because like not to skip over any of the like backstory stuff. We're about to get into like track organization concepts, and most people are astonished to know that I have one playlist. There's no folders, crates, anything. There's one list, which is meticulously tagged, and therefore I can like freely combine tags as per my mood. And it's all about seeing as many most appropriate songs as quickly as possible so that I can pick the actual best one.
That's what's up. That's one of the cool things about having so many types of good technology, and so many ways to use it is that you get to pick why you want to stick with something, and nothing wrong with one over the other. I ended up switching pretty early over to Rekordbox simply because like I had a couple of shows that I was supposed to play on CDJs, and I was like, oh shit, now I have to like download Rekordbox and like move my entire set over there and redo all of my and then once I started doing that, I was like, it's basically the same software, and if I'm going to be playing on CDJs, I might as well
like every
just do everything in here. And so I just moved all of the parts of the library I cared about over.
Yeah, I've been tempted to do that as an intermediate step, and also I've gotten into VR since the fall, and there's software called Tribe XR where you have the headset on, and in front of you are virtual Pioneer gear decks, and it uses Rekordbox. So if I had all my stuff Rekordbox out, I could just like throw on my headset and play a set like at any time. So
that sounds right.
Weren't we talking about exactly that with Nard about like whether or not there were virtual decks yet?
It exists.
And how it should totally exist already. All right. Good.
It's quite robust. It's quite sophisticated.
That's really cool. Can you tell us a little about what that experience is like?
Yeah, and you can peep them. Like they have a very active, small but like very active community, and they're on Twitch and everything, and they have like a beatport partnership and stuff. So they're like getting out as much as they can. And it's dope. It's like it's a little awkward to like get used to grabbing the knobs and turning and stuff, but once you do, it's good times.
Grabbing knobs that aren't actually in front of you.
Yeah, but it like if anyone's ever like done a modern VR headset, like it's pretty immersive. So it's like it's more about like getting your hand to the knob is not the hard part. It's like making sure that it's connecting with it and turning in the right directions and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So I have multiple things I want to return to, but this VR thing is like too interesting to not continue to touch on. So
no problem.
What does that show look like? Like when you're playing and there's like the decks in front of you, do you see like a crowd of people, or like what does the crowd of people that are listening to that set see?
Right.
Like,
well, it's complicated. There's a lot of good answers to that question. So there's two main DJ apps, and today is the very last day of one of them before it gets closed down, which is super sad. And part of why it's closing down is because Google is shutting down Google Poly, which is where like a lot of people store their like 3D creations for no reason. just because they don't think it's going to make them a ton of money or whatever. Like the Do No Evil or whatever Google days are long gone, and Wave, it's called Wave, and they source their models from there, and that is like a very, very cool tripped out immersive experience where like not only is it a DJ set, but it's like this very intense curated like visual experience. It is fucking cool, and that's basically what I'm doing after this. So I'm gonna go to like the last shows on Wave tonight before it gets shut down tomorrow. And I was promised myself I would make one before it was done, and I ran out of time, but it's all good. Yeah, I'm like still mad about it, but it's been a month. Like I have to just like accept life is weird sometimes, and the community's moving on to basically like do something and to replace it, and I'll try to be involved with that. Long story. So, but that's super trippy. The experience is it's like standing in like a VJ set basically with like psychedelic animals like DJing at you, and it's really super 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 trippy, and I encourage you all, I don't know if you can like check out some clips, because they do basically like they're a really tight knit family, and they have all like basically cover like all kinds of style. I saw like one of my first shows I saw on Wave was a metal show. It was like a metal DJ show. It was a holiday metal DJ show, and it was so awesome. It was so awesome, and they had all these like devil horns and cymbals like flying at you. It was awesome.
Flying at you?
Yeah, I know. It's really intense.
Oh my god!
And actually, like,
please tell me there was a mosh pit. There's.
I mean, there are people. The thing is people get It's really a shame this thing is ending because you get basically like drugs in the game, like you get like experiences, and you can't use them by yourself. You have to use them with someone else. And so you link up with someone or a group and you like start the experience, and then all of a sudden like everything like melts in front of your face.
What the fuck?
It's really fun.
They really address like every aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a shame it's ending. And okay, so that's Wave, and then Tribex is more, way more traditional, and it's you can stream basically you look like you're in front of decks, in front of just like like a empty room, and then you can put visuals behind yourself, and you can put a camera in the thing that shoots at you that you can stream to Twitch with. And so that's mostly how it's done, and you can switch your view between, they can see what you're seeing then also look at you. You can switch that freely. The most complicated version of that I've seen done by this DJ from the Bay, Illuminati, and her crew, pioneered by them, and then other people are doing it now. It's really quite dope. So they're beaming what I've just described to you into a social VR is like what I spend my time doing, or when I'm kind of taking a little mini break, but it's like you're in a space with people. It's not like you're like playing a game by yourself or like whatever. It's like you're in a space talking with people and exploring together. And there's communities, each one's got their own community, whatever. And so she's beaming what I described to you into one social VR platform. Now she's built her own club, and so you're in her club, seeing her in this other app, DJ, and then seeing her view from that. And then she's got camera people, she's got like avatars in that VR platform, like being cameramen, like their view is being beamed to the VJ who's like switching on the screen to the view of the camera of the environment you're in, and then switching to her and switching to her view. And then there's a whole different, like not even connected social VR platform with the same club in it, and people are dancing over there. So you're seeing the camera people in that one shoot the people dancing in the whole other thing. And then it just keeps switching back and forth. And then Illuminati herself, she's doing this all in the same headset. So she'll switch her view to her avatar in the actual world. So then she's not just like in this like other place on a Twitch screen. Then actually she'll like pick up, a rocket and shoot it at the crowd and like whatever, and like be interacting, and then go back to DJing with the same headset on. It's like so above and beyond.
Oh my God, we've had we've had maybe 2 or 3 people on this podcast that have known anything about VR, and I always ask these same questions because I'm so fucking fascinated by this. It's the obvious like way
it's really awesome
for immersive shows when you don't want to actually be there, or you can't actually be there, like especially
really awesome.
in pandemic times, right? It brings the discussion to the forefront, but it has always made sense to me that there would be some form of, when VR became a thing, it always made sense to me there would be some form of this art that would be like that. But I've never heard anyone describe anything even remotely close. And what you just described is like the ultimate version of what I've always thought this should be.
It's super dope.
That gives me so much hope for the fact that this is going to be a real thing. Okay, so that collective that does that ridiculous show, that's not ending, right?
No, they're gonna keep going until infinity. Because she basically made her career on the VR DJing. She learned to DJ on those virtual Pioneer decks like 2 years before she ever did a live show, and just like seamlessly played the live show, no problem.
Wild.
Yeah, Bunny in the chat said you can do both too, have live aspects and VR aspects, can sell 10 times as many tickets. That is exactly what the ultimate, like, if you are a festival, say, like, we'll take Shambhala as an example, you have all these great stages and an incredible venue, but you can still only sell 20,000 tickets.
Only 20,000 tickets. Yeah, totally.
Right, but as like artist booking fees fluctuate or whatever, like you might make money some years, you might not, right? And if you could sell 20x the tickets that you could sell hard copies, but those virtual copy tickets are, you know, a quarter of the price or whatever, and you have like a virtual setup that's integrated to each stage with like perfect sound and like cool VR integrations, like what you just talked about at each stage, and you can like walk to different stages and like hang out with your friends and like catch all these sets. Like that is
but that's happening. It's not even like it's gonna happen. It's already happening. So the two platforms that I mentioned in Illuminati set is AltSpace, where I spend my time. And the second one is called Sansar. And in Sansar, they have this thing called Lost Horizon, which is a music, like a continual music festival. And I just streamed to my Twitch my buddy playing at it a few days ago, or last Friday. And it was awesome. It was totally awesome. And there's multiple stages, and you're just like, okay, hopping over to this stage now. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hopping over to this stage now. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's super, exactly what you said. Super fun.
So sick. Like I don't know how I haven't heard about any of this, because
dude, here, like, the people are watching. Watch this. I don't know how the sound is going to translate, or if you're going to like see my passwords or whatever, but here we go. This is it, because I already had it up because I was rewatching it. Here is like little clips of this. I think this is Dengue. Right, yeah. But like, I'm not, that they're cool and all, but I wasn't really into it, so I like hopped around. This is my friend. That's my friend. I don't know if you're even hearing the audio. I don't know, but
yeah.
This dude is a video game. I got into the hopping. The hopping was like, I was feeling the hopping. But you get the point. Like, wait, let me hop around. Yeah, it's the other stage again. You get the point. All right, Mel, you get the point. There's a lot. It's pretty fun. There's more to show. This is just like a small clip of it. But it's
so
pretty fun.
sick.
I'm trying to see like if there's like any other parts of it I'd like to show you. Oh yeah, if I landed on the right part, there's like the opening area, like the lobby, but I'd have to like search around. I don't want to waste your time. So here's the lineup board. They had art and stuff. And it's like our kind of freaks, so it's got all kinds of like lefty political art and shit. And then like there's here we are. There you go. So there's like lineup boards. there they go. It's like the lineup for all the different stages on the different nights. It's this thing called the actual event was called London Remix. So, and there was like a lot of my like Latin UK homies on it, and that's why I was there. But so it's a good ass time.
Dude, that is so sick. Okay, so for anyone watching in the future, you need to subscribe to our YouTube, because you actually, if you're listening to this and you didn't just see that, you need to go rewatch what that experience is, because it is so amazing. I have so many more questions.
Dude, you got to see it. There was one guy. I'm just gonna turn the volume down and search around while we talk, because there was this one avatar that was like cracking up.
Good. Okay, so first of all, so for anyone listening that has no idea where to even start with VR, can you walk us through like what gear you would need to attend that event, like headset, like what kind of computer do you need, and also like what platform hosts that you would then need to access?
Sure. Well, I mean, actually, everything I've mentioned so far is free. Like some things at Lost Horizon are like ticketed, and it's like usually big. Like if I found the clip where there's the posters of the other shows, it's like mostly like really well-known artists. So basically the only thing, unless you're like already involved with VR, here's the like the like nexus point, when I get there in a second. So basically, unless you're already involved with VR and you're like ready to drop a bunch of money on fancy stuff, here I'm gonna share, ready to drop money on fancy stuff, the only thing like the one stop that you should like make is I hate to even like say brand names. I'm like allergic to, after like burning, for years and years, like I'm allergic to say brand names. But the Oculus Quest 2 is like the only thing really you should think about if you're just like, I don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want to do this. And then, so this is the like Nexus, like this is the way to one of those stages is the way to another one of the stages, and it's like there's some art over here and whatever. So you get the point. I'm gonna keep looking for that avatar though. So Oculus Quest 2, which sadly is owned by Facebook, and like people aren't like trying to like feed into the Facebook system, but it's the cheapest and best and like most accessible thing there's ever been, and like it just came out in October. And then there's like way fancier, like because people who get super serious about like music dance scene in VR get like full body tracking. They get like ankle sensors and shit so that they can like actually dance and people can respond to them. And people who do, like, I honestly, like, I get it, but I don't really care. I don't need it to be realistic. I just want to like run around, see weird shit and dance. But,
yeah,
like,
I feel you. My avatar probably dances better than me without right. all that.
But like some people are super into it. And so like VR chat is sort of like the most popular VR platform, which I haven't even mentioned. And it has a very vibrant club scene. And the people there, they're super serious about like paying money for a custom avatar, and then like money, and then like having like elbow sensors and ankle sensors and shit so they can like actually dance. And they're like, this is the only way. There's like, can't do it. I can't do it without all this stuff. And I'm like, I respect that. That's not really what I'm into. But so to do a decent amount of VR stuff, you can just do the Quest 2 standalone. For this, what we're looking at right now, and Wave, which is closing down today, there are like more advanced VR things where you need to connect a headset to a PC, and it's like a gaming PC, basically, even a low end one. And the Quest 2 actually can do that, even though like almost every VR headset only works connected to a PC, and the Quest 2 is primarily designed to work by itself with no cables and can also connect to a PC. So that's basically it. It's the Quest 2 is $300 and it was great. So that's what it comes down to. And I'm going to find this avatar as we talk. It was like a dude with like puppets as hands.
Still can't get over the dude who is a video game console.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. But there's a dude, this guy, see, this is how realistic it is, because that guy got in my face over and over. It was driving me crazy. But there's a guy who has like, is this it? No. There's a guy, you could just like
a pickle.
Or was he had like oh yeah, there's a pickle in there. There's a guy with like a jack-o'-lantern head, and then like there's the video game dude again. There's a guy with like a jack-o'-lantern head, and then like puppets as his hands, and he's like going like it's really funny. It's all right. I don't need to find it, but it's cool.
Yeah, this is amazing. Like I didn't really know exactly what to expect.
Oh, this is like
this
is something that I didn't have access to, but this is all the like light board stuff that like you could just like whoever had access to it could do it while the show was happening, you know. And here, let me show you. I'm not sure I have a stream of Wave up. I don't. But whatever. Yeah, like I don't need to show you other people's shows. We're here to talk about me.
Hey, but thank you so much for like giving us an intro to this world. Like Evan said, we talked about it a couple of times, and it's definitely super intriguing. But it's something that we're pretty ignorant about overall.
I feel really similar to Evan. Like I'm like so psyched that any of this even like sort of exists. See here, look, somebody's on Tribe right now. I don't know why there's one viewer because usually there's like a shit ton of viewers, but I must have like just started. When we get after whatever this is, Airbender thing or whatever this is. What is this? I don't know. See, I don't want to like. I don't like. Oh, this is Mortal Kombat. I guess it's kind of cool. So this is the Tribe resident DJs, and this is what like looking at them within its own app looks like. And there's like you can get like. So sorry. Well, I'm glad you didn't have to suffer through watching the Mortal Kombat commercial then.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen it already.
This is you know, you can like skin your decks and stuff and then and resize them as you want. And this guy like has his own visuals in the background or whatever, and he's doing his thing. Let's see what it sounds like. Can't guarantee this is good music. Let's find out. Okay, so we know what's going on there. But sometimes it's real good. I mean, I'm sure if you're into that, it's good, but
okay, so let's try to politely segue from this conversation back to you.
Yeah, I mean, it is about me too. I mean, I wasn't trying to like, I was just joking because like I really care about this a lot and I do it. I mean, I spent my whole fall and winter DJing in VR like a bunch, and that's in like really like sustaining myself creatively and in terms of community. So like I mean, it is about me too for sure.
No, 100%. And I wasn't saying that like what you said was intentional, but you did segue perfectly. So like when you're playing a set in VR, like what is different about that experience? Do you play different music because it's a certain crowd?
No, it depends. I mean, like the thing is, as a DJ, anyway, I do so many different things. That's why I'm a full-time DJ. Like I play the raves in the woods, and I play weddings, and I play Soul 45s. Like everything that I do, like everything, you know. So I like even in VR, I'm just like ready for any environment anyway. Like I'm not like all bass music all the time. I'm ready for anything. So yeah, I think like probably most of what I did in there was like sort of like vaguely hip hoppy, twerky, sort of bassy, but like really sort of like hip hop bass sets. But I did drum and bass sets in there, and I did a bass set recently. You know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Sick. Okay, so I need to logically revert back to 2 points that I couldn't forget to ask you.
Sure.
As someone who's a Serato pro, someone who myself has used Serato mainly just for shit around practice at DJing. How do you get over the key locked tempo changes and the artifacts that Serato introduces when you get like 5% different on the tempo?
Oh, you get there's a plugin. There's a pitch and time plugin within Serato.
This is exactly what I'm talking. I knew you would have an answer.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could just show you because it's like always. That's it. It's just like there's a pitch and time add-on and you can go like plus 100 and it's like sounds amazing.
See, I was gonna say, because that is the thing about playing on CDJs that I've always loved, is that like no matter how far you slam that pitch, it still works.
I don't know. I think it smokes a CDJ in terms of that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have the pitch and time mabobber, so I don't have a fair comparison here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write a quick little note down. Pitch and time mabobber. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, this, we're going way back to the start of this conversation. You went to college to become some form of singer, first a stage singer, then opera. where the hell is our opera trap? Where is our opera bass music? Why do I not hear amazing, beautiful operatic singing over heavy bass? Yeah, that seems like it would be sick. How is that not
happening? ONB. Well, I mean, I wouldn't get rid of the D. You have to be like O and D and O and ODB. Oh, thanks. So it's a complicated answer. Step one is I want to sing in a more club traditional way on tracks. I'd like to just like sing on drum and bass just like regular or whatever. I mean, how deep do we want to go with this conversation? Partly it's because I left it behind a long time ago, and partly because it's like that's like virtuosic, musicianship. So like you have to be in practice, and I haven't taken a lesson in
Fuck
like
that shit. Fuck
20
that
years.
No, this is a cross section of music that only you could make. Like literally, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure there's somebody else, but broadly speaking, yeah, I understand.
But
it's also because like I don't know. Definitely orchestral elements matter to me a lot. I think like opera singing, it doesn't like super appeal to me. Like opera singing in a club track, using samples from operatic experiences are pretty fun. The like difficult answer is because I am transgender, and like that singing voice is something that's like not compatible with what like I'm not trying to shock people in that way, and it's also like I've done a lot of voice training on myself since then. So like and like I never tried to be like a woman's voice part opera singer. So there's like a lot of bridges to cross to try to do that. Hosting karaoke multiple times per week, or at least once a week for like most of my adult life, like I keep singing. So like I'm like aside from this past year where I've done almost no singing, which is super weird. And it's also weird how not weird it is too. Like I don't sit around thinking about it all the time. Like I'm in practice, like I like to sing and I'm happy to sing on my tracks, but like trying to do the opera thing, and especially as I did it before, is not like and there's just like a lot of like awkward gear shifts. It's like Luke said, trying to go into fourth gear when you're going into fourth gear when you're trying to go into second gear or whatever. So.
Totally. No, and I get it. I just think that with your obvious your taste in music, your skill in production, and so much time spent training that ability, I think that even your off the bench 80% combined with your skill in production, you could distort or
maybe
shift or whatever you felt like, but you have a talent there.
Yeah, I
that would be sick.
Maybe I honestly, I mean, I think I would be happier singing in a like normal way, in more like a whatever, I don't want to say pop style, but like in a more like not operatic style on tracks anyway. Nevertheless, I think I'd rather try to cross that. I don't know. I mean, these aren't excuses. I would rather try to do that first and try like sing on anything in any manner first, and then maybe try to cross that bridge. I'm into collecting stuff like that. There's and like I made something recently that has like I have Spitfire libraries, and so like I used a lot of like I like wrote or sort of orchestral parts in a song that I think was really successful. And there's this Ima Sumac. It's like sort of like a celebrity singer many decades ago, who somebody did a flip. Let's see.
Is a celebrity singer like Paris Hilton is a celebrity DJ?
Sort of. I mean, she can actually sing, but she wasn't like an opera singer. It's like she sang sort of an operatic style, but but it was more of like a concert person, like a whatever. And let's see, iTunes can go into my loop back, right? And that's probably an appropriate volume. So this I'm into collecting songs like this. Like I got this recently. I can't hear it, but you probably can.
Yep, we can.
Okay, I can hear it again.
Beat the drum down, not a sundown. When I come round, wait. What you want now? I'm the one now. I gotta run now. Wait. I'm the one now. Wait.
You know, and there's more clips of her in it, but.
What you want now? Wait. Look who just came out on top. Ha ha ha. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's me. Ha ha ha. Flyer than the butterflies and the bees. Ha ha ha. And these diamonds wetter than the sea. Ha ha ha.
Anyway, you get the point. So.
That's sick.
You know, so if it's a good vibe, I'm not sure I'm like the person to do it, but maybe, you know.
So
Yeah. Well, I fully, like I fully think that I'm a good producer because I have, largely because I have a background in a lot of different things and because I have like a broad musical interest. Me and my pal DJ Shaky often say that like being interested in like all these different kinds of music is amazing. It's like not just amazing, but crucial cross training for any of the other things. So like, you know, being into soul music or being into whatever is like amazing cross training for producing bass music. And I love to sing. So like I'm not trying to abandon singing. It's just there's so much even like so many years later, there's so much like angst and stuff rolled up into that like opera experience, and like I don't know, like not quite like PTSD, but like hurt, you know. And so I'm not sure I'm ready for that, you know.
Only you can know where I'm, but just send it to me first.
Okay.
when you make it. And I'll hype you up because I'm sure it's gonna be fucking good.
Thanks.
So I'm curious on that note, where's inspiration kind of been pulling you lately, or even like since you put the EP out on Producer Dojo, where it's like, how's your sound kind of changed from there, and like what are you gravitating towards more nowadays?
Sure. I was like something on the tip of my brain I wanted to say to the last thing, but I can't remember anymore. It's hard to say. I mean, it's easy to say, but it's hard to say. Like, I have done some vocal sketches. It's been a hard thing for me to hard line for me to cross. I'm working on it. It's not like I've done nothing in that regard. So like that's in there. That counts as what's motivating me. I tend to, so last, it's like 2020, you know, I had high hopes for 2020, and one of the things was I got a track on Hospital Records and like 4 times LP, and
Big up.
Thanks, it's pretty fat. I should get it. 1 second.
Flex.
Ooh. Dude, Hospital Records, that's a big label. That's
awesome.
That's some UK fam, big up.
All right. So there's this big fatty 4 times vinyl with like all the people who'd ever been on med school, which was like a lot of dope people, and me in there, and
high esteem to be held in.
It's super dope, and they were gonna book me for one of their big like London shows. I mean, they did, and then of course 2020 happened, and like I don't know. There's some size and there's some things maybe I shouldn't talk about, but like I'm not I don't know. I would keep my mouth shut. But like I'm I wanted to capitalize on that experience as like, really like felt like I hit the target and had opportunity, and I'm not sure how that's going to pick up afterwards. But I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep taking those shots. And yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they come back around to having that show, I think keeping your head up and just keeping your name in there. They obviously wanted to book you then. I'm sure that's no different now. I think it's fucking tough, man. I've seen this happen to a lot of people who are on the precipice of making it, and the pandemic hit and just really take the wind out of their sails, and almost to the point where they just fucking quit. And it's so hard not to get discouraged by that, but
yeah, and I'm not there's nothing's gonna get me to quit, but like I definitely like I sailed with like a lot of enthusiasm into COVID. I was like, I'm just gonna like make a million songs, and then like as soon as as I'm sure a lot of us did, and like as soon as COVID's over, I'm just gonna like drop all these songs, it's gonna be great. And like the psychology of COVID eventually smacked me down in like July, and it's been kind of hard to get back on that horse. I've been making things, and since so I started teaching at the dojo last April, and I already had private people, and but like a really ramped up teaching, and I've been taking the Seth Drake classes the entire year, which is right now while we're doing this podcast that I'm skipping. And
shout out to Seth Drake, friend of the podcast.
And so like there's been a ton of producing growth that I've done this year that wasn't specifically like actually like me making songs in Ableton, but I haven't. It's just a weird difference. Like my normal MO is like all day, every day glued to Ableton, and it's weird spending like 6+ months like not fully glued to it. I've had some personal life and family stuff that's like distracted me as well, and I moved, and VR in the fall, VR rose up, and I like not only learned all the DJing stuff, but I actually taught myself from the ground up like VR environment design, which is basically like video game design, and without the programming aspect, which is a big part of it, but the actual like environment design and the like artistry, and it was very technical too, but the artistry of it.
Are you working on a stage for yourself? What?
I've actually made many stages for myself.
Oh,
and I made a bunch of worlds, including some really tripped out stuff that like I'm gonna end up speaking on at VR conferences, because it's like some shit came out really cool.
Nice.
Illexxandra Fest 2022. Can I?
Totally. Well, so I ended up throwing. I ended up throwing. There's an annual burner holiday party in DC that I play and work with every year, and they came to me to do a virtual version. So I threw a 6-room dance party in Altspace in December. Built all the worlds. Built most of the worlds myself and customized the ones I didn't build. And from scratch, crazy concepts, each of them, and organized the staff and threw a giant rager, and it took so much out of me that like I've sort of been like a vegetable since then. But I've been working on stuff. I've started and finished new songs from scratch since then. It's not like I haven't, and I've like the period up till COVID, like I have a folder of hundreds like 300 plus easy, if not a lot more beats that are, some of them are just like rough loops, but some of them are like nearly fleshed out songs. So like I have like, even if I never get inspiration one more day in my life, which of course won't happen, I could go, but like I'd spend the rest of my career just fleshing those out, let alone like my notepad of ideas and samples and stuff. So
yeah, that's such an important thing I think for people to hear. So I just want to highlight that, like for folks, so many folks talk about writer's block and getting worried, but like if you've been producing for any amount of time, you've got way more ideas that you didn't run through the end than you could ever do in your entire. Yeah, and also, what do I start on? Right. Open some random shit up and see what you like. Like last night, I grabbed, I had Shoes, Dojo homie, over, and I just opened up, right before he showed up, opened up an old folder of stuff we had worked on, and we had bounced out some loops where I was like, well, this beat sucks, but these 2 elements are decent. And, grabbed those 2 elements, and we built an entire song around them. There's just like the spark of the intro, and then built a whole track around it. It's like, you don't need that divine inspiration. It's way better to have preparation and work ethic and process.
Man, I miss that guy. I miss Shoes.
Yeah, man. We'll have to go see him in Boise.
Yes, we will. And go on another tour through the east side of the Pacific Northwest.
The east side of the Northwest.
Well, that
it totally makes perfect sense. I just
yeah. Anyway,
yeah, we did a Montana tour.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the Nintendo.
That song you two made that. Well, I only mentioned that because you played one song at that big ass. I guess it was like a bar or whatever that we.
Yeah,
played.
No, I know what you're talking about, and no, I haven't touched that since then, and I don't know why. Because it's really good.
This is this is actually on topic because what we just talked about is having a giant catalog of some fire, some not fire, some needs to be finished, some might never get finished, some should definitely get finished. That is one that I would hold in like, why the fuck is this not already released yet?
Yeah, like, no, I feel you on that.
Doing.
Yeah. I don't know, but I actually did think of it last night. Funny that you bring that up, because I did think about it last night as I was like finishing up the other track and bouncing it. I was like, oh, this is kind of like that other vibe. And then there's like two tracks sitting next to each other in my mind. And then I was like, man, should we get a third one? That's an EP. Who knows? Luke Rain and Shoes. I mean, the EP's got to be called Galoshes, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Hi, I'm a nerd. What's up, guys? Welcome. Yeah. Welcome to the Human Music Podcast. But yeah, follow if anybody's ever having that kind of writer's block moment, just go dive into something that you never finished. You'll get re-inspired, or you'll delete the session. Either way, it's a win.
For sure. Amen. Well, I definitely think that's a good way to go about it. I mean, not everyone has hundreds of beats in their wing, and or like a note. I mean, like my notepad of ideas is absurd. I mean, like I have paper notes coming out my ears from years and years. Then I have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas in my phone, both like in the notepad of like things I wanted to make and things I've sung into my. Just like
the voice notes collection.
The voice notes. I mean, I have so many things. So like, if I ever get down on myself about feeling uninspired, or have a long stretch of my life, like at least I have the track record. So it's like I'm not trying to. I don't want to give the impression that it's like, you're a bad producer or a bad student if you don't already have this huge cache of stuff. But like, if keep at it, you will. And and to speak in dojo terms, that's what like timer beats are for, and whatever. Just like slam a bunch of them, and then like if you look back with a different perspective, some of them might want to finish like, when you didn't at first or whatever. So
yeah, amen.
I'm curious to ask. Sorry, I was just curious to ask about your writing process. I know that's a vague question. I know it starts differently every time, all that, but one of the first times I heard your name was obviously through Producer Dojo when your EP was coming out. And I just remember Dylan saying how there was hardly any feedback and he was really blown away by your submission and all of that.
I was always a little concerned that like that like I don't know that like I don't know. I'm really glad
just
to hear
let
that.
it slide.
I'm glad. Yeah. Maybe just like let it slide or something.
That is high praise because literally no one else I've ever talked to.
Yeah. So I was amazed because I went through months of feedback. Everybody else that I was like really close with was also like telling me their experience. They went through months of feedback. And so I was really amazed. I was like, man, how did she like nail it in one go? So I was curious about your writing process because of your extensive background as a musician. I was wondering if, maybe you might have a different approach to writing tracks than most people in the dojo. And maybe that
might be
perspective shift might help.
But like in terms of, I'm that's one thing where like I'm generally pretty into my compositions, or I feel like I have a very good I feel like it's rare that I lose perspective on the compositions themselves. I think I am as susceptible as anyone, if not more so, in terms of losing perspective on the mixdowns. But I generally either just like I mean, of course, you know, you can feel lukewarm about something you've made and then someone else really likes it. That's a whole other thing. But like, in terms of like my writing process, I tend to just like, honestly, I don't know if there's any songs that I've like taken past the sketch phase where like I don't like them. I generally like all my compositions, but then I can be like paranoid for years and years about the mixing. And I don't know. Let me just look at the songs themselves. So let's see here. Out.
Mixing is like a never-ending rabbit hole too. Like no matter how good you nail the mix today, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you're gonna be better than now.
Well,
and then
totally,
you look back and be like, oh, I could have done it different, but eventually you just gotta push it out.
I think that there are ways to short circuit that. However, you know, by you know, the majority of time, you know, I strongly agree. And you know, you can't grow, you know, it's the whole thing, you can't grow unless you make mistakes. And there, you know, I teach, you know, I talk to my students about this all the time, that like, yes, it is scary to think that the whole world's going to judge you by the first thing you put out, which is by definition going to not be the best thing you ever do. Like that is scary. It's like impossible. And the only way to get around that is I mean, the only way, without like, you know, more reliable production knowledge, which usually only comes with time anyway, and time and you know, learning and everything. You either make a ton of stuff behind the scenes and only put out some of it, but that still doesn't really work. Like you still have to put yourself out there and learn from that tripping on those experiences, or you know, you just like terminate your producer identity and start a new one, you know, which people do.
Lots of greats have done that.
Yeah.
I've heard like specific stories about Marshmello and Zoo that they're like, all right, wipe the whole catalog, new brand. Yeah. Oh, this one blew up. Okay, cool. Glad I deleted the old shit.
Right, and there's reasons to do that, and there's a few things. I mean, even Illexxandra is a rebrand for me, but like this, so there's some like earlier things that are on Spotify or whatever that I'm proud of, but don't like speak to my brand, I guess. But like I don't really like, I've long struggled. I mean, everybody struggles with these ideas, but I've struggled with the idea of having a brand at all, because you need to be digestible to people. But like I am displeased with the prospect of a life of only making one style of music, or making like even like any like a bunch of styles of music, but in a narrow focus. Like I can't even like, I just it like makes me tremendously anxious to even like envision a life like that. So I'm not trying. I mean, I did try this for a while too, but like I'm not trying to like split my identity into different genres, and like I'm not trying to I don't know. It's just weird because people in one scene think other stuff is alienating, or think people in one scene think another thing is not cool. Like people who are into like jungle think that funky breaks is dumb, you know, or whatever. I mean, that's not true. I mean, there's plenty of crossover there too, but like there's like scenes that are too cool for school that think other things are like child's play, and there's people who just love their one thing and get really annoyed by things that aren't their one thing. And I respect that. I respect that people feel strongly about the thing that they're into, but like I can't kill one of my children, you know. So it's always been a weird thing to try to wrangle what my musical brand is, because like I feel like I've done a really great job of trying to develop a musical identity without getting, you know, without moving away from genres that I like.
To me, from the outside, it seems like you make stuff that's dancey and pushes the envelope.
Thank you.
You don't
that
have
is exactly
to.
What I'm going for.
Dope, like because like, you know, I've heard you at many different tempos, different styles, different textures, but the brand part is you as a person with like your skills, your influences, and your tools, putting out things you like, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say before. I forgot what I was relating it to, but New York, you know, like there's not really a basic. I don't want to skip out of what we're talking about already too, but New York shaped me, you know, coming up here. Like it to come up in this music scene, like it's this. I mean, it's really like the home of DJing. It just is. Like I'm not trying to like flex, and like, you know, other cities are really fundamental to the development of dance music, but like this whoever, it doesn't even matter who the first DJ was, but like the culture of DJing came into, like, its zeitgeist came into existence here, in my opinion.
Amen.
No,
And there's so many like local, there's like local music here that you know, it's not like unknown other places, but it's just like defines that whole experience to me. And that's like a lot of like classic club, like New York, like club music, which I think, you know, I'm thinking of like ESG, or just like random, like punk funk. I really think of like as like very New Yorky, not exclusively New Yorky, but like there's like there's so much. And then of course, you know, hip hop and all kinds of things, and house music. So even if I'm not explicitly doing that in bass music, yeah, like I definitely think I am a more unique bass music producer because of those experiences. And yes, thank you. I am trying to both be accessible and push the envelope, which is like, I know it's like a lot of people want to hit, you know, aspire to something like that, and it's, of course, as we could all assume, it's a difficult target to hit. You know, because like I mean, I know the power of loops. I don't abandon the power of loops. I use loops. I mean, I use grooves. I think that's very, very, very important. And yet, like, you know, there's like certain layers of complexity in my music. I'm trying to bring this back around to how I write. So, I don't know. Oh, let me use practical examples, because
Yeah.
so
I feel you.
Ripcord was the first one, I think, in the order on the Dojo EP, and that was largely splice samples.
Oh yeah,
Let's
from the
see,
Splice Cipher. You got that opening spot. That comes up on my SoundCloud a lot, and I'll bump a bit of it. And it's like every time that song comes, like, ooh, the Splice Cipher. What's up, Lexi?
Thank you. I think that I mean, most of these I wrote really quickly, which is kind of I don't know. It's not like I never write things quickly, but it's often I take a long time. And I think part of the success of these is because I wrote them quickly. And, you know, again, that's sort of like one of the lessons from timer beats, right? I'm not saying that I learned that from timer beats necessarily, but that's why one would do that, is moving quickly. You're getting the habit of moving quickly and the habit of not being precious with stuff.
There's a question in the chat that directly relates to this from Bunny. It says, any tips or tricks on kicking your brain into a hurry the fuck up mode?
It's just keep going. It's the problem with hurry up mode, I think, is the goal. I mean, it's important to have deadlines because that can, you know, get you motivated, but you only need to hurry up based on an expectation that you have. So you know, focus on the quickness part and not the pressure of being quick for some reason, you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like you said, like timer beats is a nice arbitrary way to speed yourself up. It's just like, well, the little timer on my phone says I have 4 minutes left to write this melody, so I better lay one down, huh?
Yeah, it's the habit. It's the habit of moving quickly, and then also like I and many people have said, the habit of if you know, spending an hour on something and then being reluctant to let it go. Like you just keep moving. Don't worry about it. Just keep moving. And so Ripcord, let's see. I'm skipping around to the
jam. Yo, that like sound that you just cut through. I love that sound. And how it still hits your melody.
Yeah, so I think
that drum,
you know, like a lot of how I write is like listening to the melodies in samples, and like it's you know, it's usually something your brain is piecing together. But like if there's any kind of like sample where like maybe like a rhythmic sample where the overtones sound like they're making a melody, often I'll latch onto that kind of thing. I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just roll with that, because it's like you know how again how I don't want to like always reference the dojo, but it's useful in this.
Hey,
context.
we're on Dojo TV.
Right.
It's all good.
Figure versus ground and grouping things together, or as Dylan says, figure
and ground.
Figure and ground, and you know, so like the fewer strands your brain has to pay attention to, the better when it's like the soloist in the band. And when you have a weird like, so therefore any links that you can make in any context, mixing, composition, whatever, reduces the number of because things group together that way. And so if I'm like latching on to like hidden melodies that I'm like interpolating within samples that already exist, that's one more link, one more flattening down of layers. And so yeah, that, and like that's actually, so Megabyte kind of worked like that too, rhythmically, not melodically. I think I had messed something up, like you know, was doing sound design or like running things through things, and I think I so there's a rhythmic figure that's messed up, and this is where I feel proud of being like danceable but pushing an envelope, where the rhythmic figure, it like changes uh uh how many beats are happening per beat, how many, you know, things are happening internally. So just listen real quick.
That's some funky swing right there.
Thanks. And it's because I think, let's see, where's the sample? I think so. The first sample, I must have put it through sampler, or not granulator, but something where I think what I did is I played it through sampler and did a pitch down, and the rhythm that automatically came out of that made really interesting, it's like polyrhythmic sense to me. I think it was in the first drop figure. So let me. Yeah, it's that froggy thing where it goes and I leaned into the melody of it, but I leaned into like the rhythm change of it, where it's like fours and then sort of like a triplet and then sort of like grinds to a halt with that pitch down. And like you don't hear the pitch down. I just used that as the scaffolding for it. But I thought that was so interesting, so I just ran with it as the repetitive beat of the entire thing. And it's really cool to me. It was really cool to me how something so sort of like not academic, but like sort of like abstract rhythmically still felt really groovy. And I was like, well, that's what I'm making this song for. And I did. Yeah,
absolutely. I like that you took, you know, what's ultimately a happy accident and then just rolled with it. Like, that's a fun groove.
For sure.
In a synth, let me put that in drums.
For sure.
And then now you've got a foundation.
No doubt. Happy Accidents. I produced for many years, I think, before I latched on to Happy Accidents, because, you know, there would always be happy accidents, but I would always be like, okay, that's really cool. I mean, that's really cool, but I really want to get the thing that I was thinking about. And I think I felt sort of like I don't know about insecure, but inadequate maybe, that I couldn't quickly make whatever was in my head. Now, many years later, I realized that's actually hard. It's really hard to hear a sound in your head and magically get to it really quickly. So certain things you can that you're like used to making, I guess, and there's certain like prototypical sounds that, you know, like Hoovers and Reese's and you know, purple basses and stuff, where you just like know the starting point of those things. But like you know, all those years I spent beating myself up for not being good enough of a producer to like just plop out whatever was in my imagination. You know, I would have been better suited towards running with the happy accidents. So many years later, I mean, if there's a lot of things I would be happy to talk about that like define how I write music. The one that I'm most enthusiastic about for the last bunch of years is happy accidents. I think happy accidents are the dopest because you didn't think of them and nobody else did either. You know what I mean? Like they're doper than anything you would have come up with intentionally, or maybe not doper, but like they're more rare. It's a more rare
gift from the
jewel.
universe.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, you're still using your skill and taste to identify what the cool things are. You know, you are still being a producer, and so it's not like you're like checked out and just being handed like something from the universe necessarily. I mean, I like to think of it like that too, but it's not like you have no role in active role in being a composer in those moments. But it's like happy accidents you couldn't have even done intentionally. Like if you had that sound in your head, if you woke up and you're like, whoa, I've got this really cool idea, and tried to make it, you would never make it in a million years. And that's why I think they're awesome. Just grab it. And also it keeps you speedy. It keeps you from slowing down. It keeps you from what I said, slowing down. And the good example is what I just said of I'm gonna not pay attention to this really cool idea in service of trying to make the original cool idea.
What I thought I was supposed to do.
Right. And it's not like your original idea is bad. It's probably great. It's probably fantastic. I'd rather not ignore making this awesome song that's right in front of my face and like a nice bow. I'd rather just bang out that song than like chase this sound for another 6 hours and never get it. You know what I mean?
Amen.
So it keeps you moving. And like I talked about being precious about things you've made. You kind of have to not be precious about things you haven't made too. You know, even if they feel awesome, and like sing it into your phone. Like I was already a really big fan of capturing the artistic breadth, like the seed inspiration of something. And I think it's really hard to do that without singing and beatboxing. Like I'm like drilling into my students, you have to be singing and beatboxing your ideas. And like, if you just like write down the notes on a staff paper, or like, not that I do that, but like if you did something like more concrete, but not performance related, you're not going to remember why that idea was cool anyway. And my point is, you don't have to let that original seed idea go. You just got to sing into the thing. And I was always a big fan of that, but I can't deny I got more serious about it after watching the Timbaland masterclass, which I'm sure a lot of us have seen by now, where to see how closely his finished products resembled his original sketches was really impressive. And like, so you got to capture the vibe through your own singing. Don't care if you're a good singer or not. Don't even worry about it. And then, you know, if you're bored and have no ideas, go ahead and spend 6 hours trying to recreate the thing you sang into your voice recorder. But like, I think it's a much better plan and a much more rewarding plan to chase the happy accident first and leave the thing that you came up in your head on the back burner, because you have a record of it. Fine. And you didn't get the sound already because you hit the happy accident first. So put it in the phone, chase the happy accident, flesh it out, do the thing.
So this is an interesting point, and it makes me think of something I heard Mr. Bill say in one of his videos a long time ago, where he's like, yeah, I'm not even that great of an artist. I just know my tools and know how they generate audio, and then I just use my taste to sift through. Yeah. And so when you said chase the happy accidents, I'm curious, do you go into the session feeling like, all right, let's find that happy accident? Or do you feel like, okay, yeah, so you go through the motions, you try and get your idea out, but if you find the happy accident, then you switch paths and go there?
Or incorporate it into what I'm doing. You know, make that a feature or the feature of the thing I'm already making.
So the main point for people here is, don't necessarily chase the happy accidents, but when they come, recognize them and take them.
Definitely. Because I think if you start, follow the white rabbit. Because like if you set out to do happy accidents, it's the same as setting out to get a sound that's in your head, basically. And like you can do sound design and come up with happy, like you can intentionally say, I'm going to do sound design and come up with happy accidents. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely started whole songs off. I'm just going to do some mud pies, and then that cool thing, oh, this is the entire basis for the whole song.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my weird rhythmic thing.
Exactly. Like a lot of my ideas, I just wake up in the middle of the night with a cool idea in my head. And am I lucky for that? I guess. I mean, I'm just like, it's like when you play a video game so much that you're like dreaming in the video game.
I had to stop because of that.
So did I. But I think the same thing happens with anything we do. So I think the same thing happens with producing. And if you're in the habit of producing, then, or in any creative pursuit, your brain is inclined to think of ideas in that direction. And so when the gears are all turning daily, melodies and rhythms pop into my head. And often when I'm like at a show, I get inspiration. Like that's one of the cool things about living in my neighborhood is that I'm close to a lot of clubs. And if I'm in a club and I'm like vibing and I have a bunch of ideas, and I've done this on many occasions, I'm just like, peace. And I go write. It's like 1 a.m. I'm like, go home. I had a drink or two, but I'm like, I love you guys. This is a great party. I gotta go write. Bye. And I do that a bunch. And yeah, and then like I get a lot of my ideas from I definitely think I think for me I have to get caught up with I have to feel some sort of inspiration. I have to get caught up thinking something's really cool. And there are many roads to that. And I've described a couple, and then a lot of my ideas I think come from playing with new toys. Playing, like getting a plugin or getting a new library and just like futzing around and tripping over a happy accident by playing with new toys.
Yeah, give yourself something unexpected.
Yeah, but it's just like if I sit down, if I'm like, oh, it's time to go to bed, but I really gotta but I want to check out this thing I just bought, I'm asking for trouble, because pretty much almost always when I play with a new toy, I get an idea. So if I don't want to stay up until 10 a.m., I should not play with that new toy until tomorrow.
Oh, I feel you.
That.
I feel you. I'm
like, you're bound to but you're bound. Like I'm bound to. If I get a new phaser and stumble on a super sick preset, I'm gonna make a song. If a break sounds like amazing through this new chorus, I'm gonna make a song about it. If I'm I have my friends who say, jokingly, I'm not supporting drugs, I'm not talking about that, but my friends, if I have friends at festivals, they're like, if you have like a problem or you're talking about some situation, I'm like, oh, okay, well, why don't you do coke about it? So I always say do something about it. So I might write a song about it, not like based on that topic, but like, oh, I'm gonna write a song about that. And if same with a sample library or an orchestral library, or like for me, oh my god, like God forbid, like a global music library, like in 10 minutes of like futzing through patches, I'll find something I want to make a song about. So.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
I think that's a good piece of advice too for the people that are struggling with motivation or writer's block and stuff. It's like I really like this point of happy accidents you keep coming back to, because you're 10,000% right. And all of my, for example, sound design questions were answered when I realized that all these people I look up to aren't aware that they're going to be making this sound when they start, per se, or like all of these cool, crazy variations might have just been a mud pie that they accidentally made and went back to later. And I like what you said there, because I definitely relate with, if you start something late, you try that new plugin or whatever, like goodbye sleep for that night. You're gonna be
or what's a worse heartbreak is you're gonna have a great idea and then go to bed and not do it. You know what I mean? And maybe you'll catch that inspiration when you wake up, but that initial breath of why you felt so hype about it might not be there tomorrow. So
it's hard to get that back. I try and finish songs to a draft in a session these days.
Yeah,
if at all possible.
Yeah,
amen.
And it's rare if I don't get it to like a rough draft. It's rare that I take that song to completion. I do sometimes, but it's much less often.
Unless I dust it off 2 years later when I'm randomly digging through old folders. I'm like, oh, hey, this thing.
Yeah. It's not going to be 2 months later, probably.
But that's like a different experience. You know what I mean? You have fully disconnected from that.
That's basically crate digging at that point.
Yeah, you're crate digging, which is a great way to do it too. That's why you just hedge your bets in all directions. Keep all your sketches. Bounce all your sketches. Don't leave them in Ableton. Bounce all your sketches, even the dumbest, like short melody. Bounce them all, put them in a folder. Bounce them all, put them in a folder. You will never be able to scan through them, waiting 3 minutes for each project to open, or in like messing up your most. Is anybody as
You're gonna return to it, or
paranoid about their recent projects list in Ableton as I am?
Paranoid in what sense?
People don't seem to get bent out of shape about it, but like if something rolls off the bottom of like whatever 20 is in there, like, oh man, I get real freaked out.
It's gone forever.
Well, yeah, no, I'm like worried that I'll forget about it forever if it's something like a current thing I'm working on. So, then if you're like trying to flip through old sketches and things are rolling off that list, that freaks me out. Just have them in a folder. And if you're, if you throw them in a playlist or whatever, if you're on Mac, just, press space bar, listen through them in Finder and down, click, down, click, down, click, down, click through it, and mark the ones that are badass, and you should come back to you someday.
Amen.
Yeah.
Great actionable advice for everybody.
Yeah, that's actually such a good point. I have one of my things that I've been doing over quarantine is just write like a guitar riff or a chorus or whatever a day. And I have so many, and I like went to like play through them the other day, and it's just like, oh, this has got to load, this has got to load, this has got to load.
No, it's the as much of a creativity killer as humanly possible to wait for projects to load. I mean, you can put them in your Ableton library too, in like in a drop down or something. I still think you should have actual audio bounce in a folder.
Especially if it's just a sketch, because you need the purpose of having that sketch is to potentially return to it, right? Or maybe never. But if your list of 20 sketches prevents you from getting through 18 of those because you're like, oh, I'll check this one and this one. Nah, this folder's garbage.
Right.
Like that's against the point.
Exactly.
Like I love what you said.
Exactly. Yeah. The point is not whether you come back to them or not. The point is how quickly you can, like how quickly can you blaze through them to see, just as the DJ thing, like how fast can you get to the banger? How fast can you get to the best choice? And it's going to be different from day to day. All the more reason to be able to flip through them quickly. In 2 years, you're going to have a different perspective on which ones are cool or not. All the more reason to flip through them quickly and not try to remember if you even have that folder on your hard drive anymore.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Do all that you can to up your ability to be efficient.
Definitely. Or just stack all the cards in your favor in every direction. And that's one really important one. And like my brain, as I think is probably pretty universal, my brain processes an MP3, experiences an MP3 differently than listening to the audio through Ableton. Not sonically, obviously, just psychologically. Like my critic brain turns on when I'm listening to an MP3 instead of my artistic ego, or listening to a song in Serato. I will not put a song out without like looking at it and listening to it in Serato multiple bounces, because like my DJ brain is trained, it has muscle memory to do different kinds of things, to know what works in a crowd setting, and to know what good production looks like on the colored waveform. And
that's real.
You know what I mean? And so like, use what you got, use your skills that you already have. And I feel like listening to this exact same audio in different formats and more accessible formats, it's just really important.
Amen.
Amen to that. Yeah.
We had just a couple more quick questions in the chat I wanted to make sure we didn't let fall through the cracks. Bunny asked, are you attending/speaking at SIGGRAPH? I don't know what that is. Do you?
I do not.
All right. That's a no.
Should I?
Animation presentation.
Oh, VR conference. My friend is the one who hooked me up. One of my projects, one of my VR, the one that we're going to take to festivals, to conferences. I can try to look it up real quick. The one we're going to take to conferences, it was a collaboration where like I did a lot of the heavy lifting, but it was a collaboration with someone who's very, very talented, Andy Fidel, who is connected to conferences. And she set up all the stuff. I'd have to search through to find the names of them. That one doesn't ring a bell, but yeah.
No worries. And then the last one, way throwback from like an hour ago, Goostronics asked, so how many songs are in your, only one DJ set list? your one master list to rule them all?
Let's take a look.
I was curious about that too.
Sure.
Didn't want to break the conversation for it, but we're getting back to it.
As of today, Let's see. I'm gonna drag the new acquisitions over into the main playlist. I mean, I think it's over 8,000, but let's see.
Over 8,000.
And these are
Dragon
songs.
Ball
These
Z
are
shit.
songs. These are songs. It's not just like, oh, I bought this and maybe it'll work. It's things that I've like labored over whether it's gonna go in this or not. You know, it's like, am I really gonna am I gonna devote my am I gonna marry myself to this song? Like, it's that serious.
It's 8,000 hell yeses.
84. It's 8,000 hell yeses. It's all killer, no filler, and it's 8473.
Woo!
Damn.
It's
It's quite the folder.
It looks like 24 straight days of music without stopping.
Yeah. All right, I'm down for that festival. Especially after being cooped up in the house a year.
If
Just
I could
go to
stay
a
awake for
month-long
24 days,
festival.
if I could stay awake for 24 days, I would attempt a 24-day
have
DJ
little-
Well, why don't you do some coke about it?
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly. You nailed
Disclaimer, we at the
usage.
Human Music Podcast do not
Yeah, cue the disclaimer.
Oh, if I ever heard one.
Yeah, but-
Tell the people
Uh-huh.
where they can find you and your music and what to keep up with you in the coming days.
Great. I am at everything /Illexxandra. I have top SEO. It's
Two L's,
two L's,
X's, right?
two X's, ILLEXXANDRA, Twitter, Twitch. I mean, I don't know why I started with Twitter. I don't even barely even use Twitter, but
Lots of people do.
Instagram, Twitch, everything, SoundCloud,
All the
Mixcloud,
places.
all the places.
Definitely follow Illexxandra. Remember, 2 L's, 2 X's, starting with that ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you have to end? I would keep talking.
I mean, I got some lessons coming
No,
up
that's
and
cool.
such,
No,
but
I'm just messing.
Yo,
yeah,
definitely
we'll
part two,
definitely
though.
have you back for part 2. There's a
Word,
lot of
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
I had like on the side just in case we slowed down conversation, which it never did. So
Oh, word,
we
yeah.
got plenty of stuff we could ask you
Yeah,
next
word.
time.
Yeah, and I barely talked about like my musical influences or even just in terms of recent stuff or like what kind of the styles I'm making and stuff. So
Yeah, exactly right.
I had a list of like at least 5 pre-prepared questions. I didn't get to any of them. So
Yeah.
well,
Same. I think
part
we're
2 is
gonna.
inevitable.
Yeah,
Sick.
we're gonna have to.
sick.
All right. Well,
Hey, thank you very much.
thank
You're
you for
welcome.
being here, Illexxandra. Thanks to the Dojo TV chat
Big
for
up, chat.
being
Big up,
here.
chat.
Give you a peace and a peace among worlds.
I like it.
Thank you, humans, so much for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Please smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, leave a like, put a 5-star review on this bad boy right here, because that'll help us get to more producers just like you who are looking for some awesome producer content. Now, make sure you hit those links down below. Support the podcast by supporting our sponsors. First up, Dojo TV from the Producer Dojo, where you can get free live stream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis. The Dojo Max membership, where you can step it up with monthly private lessons, unlimited track feedback, and the weekly download archive from ill.Gates. That's over like 220 classes from ill.Gates himself. It's the best value the Producer Dojo has to offer. Guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake at the Approach Institute. The best engineer we know gives you your first class for free. Jump in there. Finally, Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get unlimited uploads for under $10. All of those links are right down below, or you can get to them at thehumanmusicpodcast.com. Follow the podcast at The Human Music Podcast everywhere but Twitter, where it's at Human Music Pod. All right. Thank y'all. Peace out and peace among worlds, y'all.